Human history is filled with rituals, some sacred, some disturbing, and some downright bizarre. From drinking gold to dancing with corpses, ancient civilizations had customs you won't believe were real. Today, we're unearthing the strangest, creepiest, and most mind-blowing rituals of the ancient world. We journey into the shadows of history to witness these extraordinary ceremonies for ourselves. We'll explore 6 distinct cultures, each with its own startling approach to life, death, and the unknown. What we find may be unsettling, but it's an essential part of our shared human story. Let's begin. In ancient Egypt, the afterlife was everything. Tombs, treasures, and mummification all served one purpose: a safe journey beyond death. But the Egyptians feared more than just the unknown. They feared the dead themselves. Some spirits, they believed, could linger and curse the living. To prevent this, priests performed a chilling ritual: the silencing of the dead. Before sealing the sarcophagus, embalmers would remove the tongue of the deceased. In its place, they inserted a tongue of pure gold. Gold, the skin of the gods, was incorruptible, a divine gag ensuring the dead could no longer speak ill or curse the living. This act was both protection and elevation. The dead were silenced, but also marked as sacred. Archaeologists have found mummies with golden tongues, proof of this extraordinary practice. At Taposiris Magna, several such mummies were discovered, their mouths still holding their precious secrets. The golden tongue was a promise: peace for the living, sanctified silence for the dead. It reveals a civilization obsessed with order, even in death. The Egyptians prepared for eternity, but also guarded against the power of the soul itself. In the darkness of the tomb, the mummy lay, its mouth filled with gold, its voice forever claimed by the gods. This ritual is both a work of art and an act of profound fear. It's a testament to how far people will go to control the unknown. The golden silence of the Nile is a haunting reminder. Sometimes the dead must be silenced to protect the living. In Egypt, even the afterlife had rules, and sometimes those rules were written in gold. The line between reverence and fear was thin, drawn with a golden tongue. The silence they imposed was not emptiness, but the weight of the gods. In Egypt, death was never truly quiet. Deep in the jungles of Mesoamerica, the Maya saw blood as the essence of life and the key to cosmic balance. Their gods had sacrificed themselves to create humanity, so humans owed a debt, paid in blood. The elite, kings, queens, priests, performed ceremonial bloodletting as a sacred duty. Rituals were public, dramatic, and intensely personal. Rulers would pierce their tongues or genitals with obsidian blades or stingray spines, letting blood flow onto bark paper. The blood-soaked paper was burned, its smoke believed to carry prayers directly to the gods. The pain was intentional, a gateway to visions and communion with the divine. Lady Zok, depicted at Yaxchilin, pulled a thorned rope through her tongue, entering a trance to receive guidance from ancestral spirits. Kings bled for fertility, believing their sacrifice nourished the land and ensured prosperity. Maya art is filled with images of nobles letting blood, a public display of piety and power. To rule was to bleed, to refuse was to forfeit legitimacy. Bloodletting was creation, communication, and cosmic maintenance all at once. For the Maya, pain was prophecy, and blood was the bridge between worlds. The crimson thread of sacrifice wove gods, rulers, and people into a single tapestry. Shocking to us, but for the Maya, it was essential. A sacred act that kept the universe in balance. Their rituals remind us, sometimes the price of order is written in blood. The Maya's gateway to the gods was always open, if you dared to bleed. In their world, suffering was sacred. On the arid plateaus of ancient Persia, Zoroastrians faced a dilemma: how to dispose of the dead without polluting earth, fire, or water. Their answer was the Tower of Silence, a circular stone platform where corpses were exposed to the sky. The dead were laid out for vultures, nature's purifiers, to strip away flesh in hours. This was not horror, but virtue. The body's final act was to nourish the animal world. Once the bones were clean, they were gathered and placed in a central pit to return to the elements. The ritual reflected a belief in purity, humility, and ecological responsibility. The soul had already departed, the body was just a shell, recycled by nature. The Tower of Silence was a sacred space, not a place of fear. Even today, a few towers remain, silent witnesses to this ancient tradition. Zoroastrians confronted death openly, integrating it into the cycle of life and decay. Their sky burial was a final surrender to the universe, death doing no harm to the world they revered. In Persia, the end was not hidden, but given back to nature. The ritual was cosmic recycling, a humble return to the earth. Death, for the Zoroastrians, was just another part of the natural order. On the Eurasian steppe, the Scythians honored their chieftains with funerals as fierce as their lives. When a king died, his embalmed body toured the tribes, while mourners cut their skin and shaved their heads in grief. But the king would not enter the afterlife alone. A year after burial, 50 retainers and 50 horses were sacrificed, strangled, not bled, to serve him beyond death. Before this, a strange ritual took place. The Scythians hotboxed tents with burning cannabis, inhaling the smoke in a mind-altering, purifying ceremony. This was spiritual cleansing, a final trip for those about to die. Archaeology confirms Herodotus's tales, braziers, and hemp seeds found in burial mounds. The sacrificed retainers were mounted on horses, arranged in a circle around the king's tomb, a ghostly honor guard for eternity. The Cyian Funeral was brutal, intoxicating, unforgettable. Death was not peaceful, but a violent transition, demanding loyalty and spectacle. The smoke was both purifier and guide, connecting the living and the dead. The steppe's riders believed power extended beyond the grave. Their funerals were a testament to fierce loyalty and otherworldly belief. For the Scythians, the afterlife was a journey, one you didn't take alone. Their final trip was a ride into legend. In Rome, order ruled, except during Saturnelia, a week when the world turned upside down. Work stopped, rules vanished, and revelry took over. Masters served slaves, gambling was allowed, and everyone feasted in colorful clothes. The highlight, a mock king, the lord of misrule, chosen from the lowliest ranks, whose every command had to be obeyed. For 1 week, chaos reigned, a symbolic return to a mythical golden age of equality. Some ancient sources claim a darker twist. At festival's end, the Lord of Misrule was sacrificed, his death restoring order. Historians debate this. Evidence is thin, and it may be propaganda or confusion with older rites. Still, the idea lingers. Beneath the joy, Saturnelia hinted at the cost of chaos. The festival was both liberation and a reminder of Rome's rigid structure. Saturnelia inspired our own winter holidays, feasting, gifts, and light in the darkness. But it may have hidden a chilling secret. The price of a week's freedom was the life of its king. The Lord of Misrule embodied the necessary anarchy before order returned. Saturnelia was a blueprint for celebration, and a warning about the balance of power. In Rome, even joy had its limits. The reversal was temporary, but its shadow was long. The Aztecs' most chilling ritual honored Ziptoeek, the Flayed One, a god of rebirth and agriculture. In spring, captives were sacrificed, their hearts offered to the sun. But the ceremony didn't end there. The victims were flayed, their skins removed in one piece and treated with ochre to resemble gold. Priests donned these skins, wearing them as sacred robes for 20 days. They walked among the people, hands and feet dangling, living embodiments of the god's power. The decaying flesh symbolized the old vegetation rotting away, making room for new life. The smell was part of the ritual, a sign of transformation and renewal. The skin wearers collected offerings, revered as conduits of Ziptoeek's regenerative force. At the end, the skins were removed and buried. The priest emerged like a sprout from the earth. To the Aztecs, this was not horror but hope, a plea for harvest and the continuation of life. The ritual was a literal transformation of death into life, a powerful metaphor for nature's cycle. What seems grotesque to us was sacred to them. The Aztecs believed only through sacrifice could the cosmos endure. Their rituals remind us beauty, horror, and holiness are defined by culture. The god who wore human skin was both terrifying and vital. In the Aztec world, life and death were inseparable. Their faith was written on the body, sometimes in another's skin. As our journey ends, we're left with haunting images. A golden tongue, a queen's blood, a priest in another's skin. These rituals, born from fear and faith, challenge our understanding of humanity. Are they savage, symbolic, or echoes of something we still carry today? The forms have changed, but the need to connect, to honor, to make sense of death remains. Ancient rites still echo in our own traditions, blurring the line between civilized and savage. The past is not just a foreign country, it's our foundation. Which ritual shocked you most? Let us know in the comments. If you love forgotten history, subscribe and ring the bell for more. Subscribe to our channel Hermolux Creations for more such content.